We don't play for any other team but Team America on this show. We're also so far beyond the illusion that is this two-party system. It's why we focus on policy and results, not party and the proverbial horse race. Now, that said, there is very little debate inside the collectivist Democrat Party over what they stand for. For that reason, I can confidently say that a vote for 99% of Democrats is a vote to continue America's downhill slide with the loss of our safety, security, and prosperity. John Fetterman, the perfect Democrat. That's our analysis in today's preamble. And I know many of you may be scratching your heads wondering why I don't consider Joe Biden to be the perfect Democrat. It's a fair question. But before we get to Fetterman, let's examine what Joe Biden's been up to.
Barack and I think it's a right for people to have bad health care. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
The way China will respond is when we gather the rest of the world that, in fact, believes in open trade and making sure that we're in a position. COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it, more lives this year than any other year for the past 100 years.
All right. I can understand why some of you would say that Biden is the perfect Democrat. His mumbling, bumbling exploits have become legendary and have served to define the Democrat Party in the modern era.
Some people ask whether you are fit for the job. And when you hear that, I wonder what you think.
Watch me.
Mr. President, thank you.
You know, the needs of the nation are to live and not having the money to pay for it. Not a joke. Think about it. Think about what you'd think about.
You're going to make that all cement. You're going to use that as basis to build on, because you need security, you need stability for what you have on top, and you're going to build up stories beyond. I mean, this is incredible. This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
We'll go down and listen. We'll go down here and listen. We'll go down.
And I want to thank all of you here, for including bipartisan elected officials like Representative Governor, Senator Braun, Senator Booker, Representative Jackie. Are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
After all, you may be saying Joe Biden declared that he is the Democrat Party, and no member of the press or his party disputed him. So you would say, take him at their word, which is also dangerous because nobody lies like a Democrat. Nobody lies like Joe Biden.
Everything was ruined, and the kitchen floor, we almost lost a couple firefighters, they tell me, because the kitchen floor was the burning between the beams in the house. So this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. It was invented by a man who did not patent it because he wanted it available for everyone. I spoke to him, okay? That's how we were able to defeat and end the caliphate for ISIS. He promised to bring back jobs, but manufacturing was in recession even before COVID-19.
Right. Everything you just heard there was a lie. And speaking of Democrat lies, the White House and the Democrat Party have been busy telling Americans that Joe Biden is doing all he can do to bring down high prices at the grocery store and at the gas pump. That's simply not true. There are two ways to bring down prices. Number one, you can drop demand by tanking the U.S. economy, and Joe Biden is doing that in spades. Prices at the pump have been dropping because demand is dropping. The unemployment rate is going up, and economists are forecasting a deep Joe Biden Democrat recession. The other way to drop gas prices is to increase supply. Joe Biden just revealed that his claim to be doing everything he can do to lower prices is just another Democrat lie.
No more drilling. There is no more drilling. I haven't formed any new drilling. No, That was before I was president. We're trying to work on that, get that done. Thank you.
Okay, looks like Joe Biden's lies, trying to con the American people not to vote out his Democrats, have finally caught up to him and his immoral party. Joe Biden has been lying so much, not even CNN can hide the truth any longer and maintain any illusion of credibility. When you're a Democrat and CNN can't cover up your lies anymore, you're doing it wrong. I know that you're thinking, Chris, I thought you said Fetterman was the perfect Democrat. I know. I'm getting to that, I promise. Chris Salcedo's show has been highlighting Democrat racism and Democrat violence throughout this year. Despite the stats and the headlines, the Democrats and their leader, Joe Biden, have been wandering the country, claiming that there is nothing but GOP violence out there. But that, too, is another lie. The latest example of Democrat racism and violence comes out of the socialist-controlled New York. Everyone but fake news outlets is reporting how a Lee Zeldin supporter was choked by a man at a Kathy Hochul rally. Now, I want to caution our viewers, the video you're about ready to see is disturbing. Here we see a white man placing his hands around the neck of Zeldin supporter and choking that woman of color. This latest example of Democrat violence is a sad reminder of the history of whites in the Democrat Party harming people of color for daring to oppose them. It is shocking and has no place in American politics. To our knowledge, neither Joe Biden nor his press secretary have condemned this violence from one of their own. And that leads us to Mr. Fetterman. In the latest push to put unqualified, pliable, and dangerous candidates in power, an opinion piece at NBC, air quotes, News, suggests that it's Americans' duty to elect Democrats into positions of power even though they can't do the jobs. They allege it's our duty to fall on the sword to elect disabled people like Mr. Fetterman. Where I, your liberty-loving Latino, believe that all Americans, disabled or otherwise, should have opportunities to work and serve their country, the deciding factor when so many lives are hanging in the balance has to be ability and merit. Should the Dallas Cowboys hire a person who has lost the use of their legs to be their starting running back? Should the U.S. Air Force recruit visually impaired folks to fly in our fighter jets? The lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania suffered a stroke that made him unable to perform the rigors and responsibilities of being a U.S. senator. The job of senator impacts the lives of millions of Americans. It is the height of irresponsibility for the Democrats at NBC and in politics to suggest that we must compromise our national security and prosperity just to make sure an unqualified Democrat gets elected and is able to take home $174,000 a year, courtesy of the U.S. taxpayers.
To have all of his merchandise as part of his kind of empire from the show. All of it was manufactured right here in China.
I run on Roe v. Wade. Celebrates the demise of Roe v. Wade.
Send me to Washington, D.C. Take on to make sure I push back against work. To have this conversation to really just address the fact that I'm absolutely set to serve.
What qualifies you to be a U.S. Senator? You have 60 seconds.
Hi, good night, everybody.
The last part of our montage there with the American flags falling is emblematic of what will happen to our land if this country continues to vote for a Democrat Party that has socialism and communism at its core value set. This is why I say that Fetterman, not Biden, is the perfect Democrat. He defines the Democrat Party's competence. He defines the Democrats' values. He defines their work ethic. He defines their sensibilities. John Fetterman and those who surround him think it's a fair trade to let him take office and imperil your family because he's owed that job. All Democrats feel they are owed power. Besides, Fetterman's handlers will say, privately, we'll surround Fetterman with unelected, nameless, and faceless leftists who will work to harm Americans under the cloak of anonymity, just like Joe Biden's people are doing. Everything's going to be fine, they say, but it won't be fine. Democrats believe their own power, not the will of the people, is the end game, and they claim their unchallenged power is all that matters. Don't take it from me. Listen to a Democrat.
I'm a loyal Democrat, but I am not happy. I just think that we did not listen to voters in this election, and I think we're going to have a bad night. And, you know, this conversation's not going to have much impact on Tuesday, but I hope it has an impact going forward. Because when voters tell you over and over and over again that they care mostly about the economy, listen to them.
Listen to them. Wow. My friends, do yourself a favor. Vote in your own best interest. Vote against the Democrats and their corruption, their lies, and their backward anti-American policies. In short, vote your values. Let's stop making our government a welfare program for unskilled and unqualified Democrats.